Hi everyone, welcome back to today's video. For today I'm going to be doing my August paper pumpkin. I just started filming this video and I started opening everything and then realized that I didn't actually hit the record button on my camera. So we're going to go ahead and jump into this, and you'll see that I kind of already started to tear things apart, but I haven't started any of the projects. I haven't actually even gotten down to that. I just looked at the stamp set and the ink. So if you're not familiar with Paper Pumpkin, I like to, let people know right off the bat. Paper Pumpkin is a monthly subscription box, and it is a project kit that comes to your house every month, and it includes all of the supplies that you need to make the projects, detailed instructions with pictures, a stamp set, and a Stampin' Spot ink pad. So you literally have everything that you need. Even when you get your very first kit, it comes with a acrylic block in your very first kit. So you literally have everything you need to make your project right in this box. So it's pretty awesome. Anyways, to go on, like I said, I started to kind of open this. So for this month, we have Early Espresso as our ink pad. And as usual, I'm going to be using my full-size ink pad. That's just the way that I like to do it. I think it makes life a little bit easier for myself. We also have this really pretty stamp set, and I love this for you. It really reminds me of one of the stamp sets from last year's celebration, and I can't remember what it was called off the top of my head. I think it said Just For You or something like that, and it had this same kind of font, or it reminds me of that font that I really liked. So it has a few different big, bold sentiments, which I really like, and then a few little image, like flower, foliage, botanical images, which I really like. And then I didn't get into this part. I just saw the stamp set and the ink pad, but for today's kit, or this month's kit, it looks like we have these really pretty projects. So it looks like we maybe have 2 cards and maybe like a gift card holder, maybe is what that is. So what I'm going to do is open this up. I'm going to spread all the supplies out, check out what we have, and then I'll be right back so we can start jumping into these projects. Okay guys, so when I say that this kit comes with a ton of stuff, it literally comes with a ton of stuff. So what we actually have is, when you open up your instructions, we have a large card, a medium card, and a small card, and it looks like the small card is really like a little note card. So I'm super excited. We're going to make one of each project. I'm going to move all the stuff out of the way, but to go over what you kind of have, so it looks like we have 6 card bases here. So this is going to be for our large card, I'm assuming, and our medium-sized card. And then you have these little guys, which are going to be for our note cards. We have these squares, we have some rectangles, some red color on them. We have some plain ones, some little note cards, these little circles, banners. I mean, there's literally tons of stuff in here. You get 2 different sized envelopes. I'm assuming these are for the large and the medium size card, but I'm not 100%. I'm just assuming that. I haven't actually looked yet. So it does come with envelopes, which is awesome. When I say you get everything that you need, you literally get everything that you need. We have some dimensionals and some glue dots here to use for our projects. Some strips of paper, and then these awesome embellishments. So this looks like some Early Espresso baker's twine, or just regular twine. This is the, I don't remember what it's called. I want to say it's the burlap ribbon or something to that effect. Let me see if I can find it in the catalog really fast. It is, yes, it is the burlap ribbon. I've never actually purchased the burlap ribbon, surprisingly, because I'm obsessed with like lace and burlap. But I'm assuming that's what that is, so I'm excited to play with that. And then you get all of these little wood embellishments. There's a couple of little mini clothespins, so I'm super excited. So we're going to follow the instructions step by step. I'm going to have this off to the side just so that I don't block the view and I have some room to work. So we're going to start off with the large card, and we are going to be taking let's see. So we're going to grab an envelope. So it says, stamp the envelope, circle, and background piece. So we're going to use one of the large envelopes. We're going to use our background. Oh, no, sorry, not this, not this. This is our background piece. So we're going to use those two and then one of the circles. And it looks like we're using this stamp right here, this stamp right here, and then the thanks. So I'm going to grab a few blocks and let me see which ones will be easiest to use. So we're going to, like I said, use this little tiny one. Grab a tiny block. I don't think this will fit. Okay, so we've got one. And then we need one for this large piece here. And this should, all of the stamps that you ever get in Paper Pumpkin should always fit on the D block. That's the size of block that you get, like I said, when you get your first kit. So everything, as long as you have a D block and or the one that you get in the kit, you should always be good. But I just have other blocks, so I'm just going to use what I have so we don't have to keep switching them out. And then we're going to take the thanks. And I'm going to mount it up on this one. You could obviously use, what do I have on my block? You could obviously use one of the other sentiments. You could use the hello. I guess you can't use the other two, so you would have to do thanks or hello. So we're going to grab our early espresso, and I'm going to start with, we'll start with the background piece. So I'm going to move all of this stuff out of the way. So we have this, let me see, they don't really have it, they have it oriented this way. I don't think it really matters, you could do it however you want, but what we're going to do is take this stamp right here and we're going to stamp it in all four of the corners, rotating it each time. So the point right here, you want to make sure that that's in each corner when you stamp it. So I'm going to ink this up. And again, I like to use my full-size ink pads. I just find that it's easier for myself. And I've talked about it a few times. I like to save the Stampin' spots and give them away as gifts and little treats. So we're going to keep the point in the corner. You could turn the paper if that's easier for you to keep your stamp the same direction and turn your paper. That's totally fine. And this is super easy. I thought this would be a little bit more difficult, but these actually line up really easily. It's not hard at all. So, and one more, just down and up, and there you go. I think I had it that way before. Okay, so that is our background, so we'll set that off to the side. Next, let's go ahead and do our envelope. So for the envelope, all we're doing is taking the little tiny one and stamping that in the middle of the flap on the back, just as a nice little accent piece. I think it looks really cute. Set those both off to the side. And then for the thanks and the little circle, we're just going to stamp the thanks right in the center, just as our little sentiment. And again, you could use the hello if you have another sentiment that you think you would like better for this. You can use whatever you want. You don't have to use these. These are just what comes in the kit, so that's what's suggested. Okay, now the next. I might have to move this because I'm getting a glare and I can't really see. Okay, so it says wrap the twine 20 inches around the background piece and knot it. Thread leaf on each tail and tie a bow. Okay, so we're going to put our ink away for a second so that I don't stick my fingers in it. And we're going to grab our background piece, not the envelope. So we're going to set those two pieces off to the side. We're going to grab our twine. And let me see, it looks like they wrapped it around once. Yeah, it looks like they wrapped it around once probably. So that's all I'm going to do as well. And we're just going to take this, and I'm probably going to cut this to make my life a little bit easier. So just make sure you have enough. I'm going to tie my knot right about here. So I want to make sure I have enough on each side, and that looks good to me, so I'll just snip that. I probably left myself too much actually, but that's one thing that I will say with Paper Pumpkin is that they always give you enough material. They actually always give you more than enough material, in my personal opinion. So you never have to feel like you're going to be stingy or you're going to run out. Obviously, as long as you're making the projects as they describe. If you're going crazy and doing funny stuff, then yeah, you might run out of materials. But anyway, so all I did was tied a simple knot right there, closer to the right hand side. That's just how they have it in the diagram. And then we're going to take these little leaves. So you're going to do 2 per card. And we're going to thread 1 leaf on each tail. There's 1. Here's 2. And you might, depending on how much you handle your twine, you might have to cut the end off, like I'm going to have to whoa, scissors are going crazy, to feed it through a little bit easier. Hopefully that works. Perfect. Okay, and then we're just going to tie a simple little bow. Just like so. I'm going to pull my little tails and kind of fidget with it. Kind of did that back upside down, but you can mess with it and see what looks best to you. There, perfect. Whoa, now I'm getting crazy. Okay, now there's my little bow. I'm gonna trim off that tail, and I'll trim this one just a smidge. Okay, whew, there we go. Now we are going to, okay, so it says adhere an orange strip and burlap trim with adhesive dots. So let's get our orange strip and our trim. And I'm guessing this might already be pre-cut. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. So I always refer to the picture on the front just to kind of see how they've done it. So I think probably right about there is good. And then it looks like they cut one side at an angle, so I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. And again, if you don't want to, don't do it. This is all about you. This is just a template for how they put the projects together, but you can do whatever you want. The one thing that I will say is that I don't personally like using these little glue dots. I find that it's much easier to just use some snail or some fast fuse. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use snail for the back piece here, or this, the back piece, this little orange piece, and I'm just going to put it down, and I'm going to butt it right up to where my twine is, right where I put that. And there's a little bit of adhesive on the back, on the sides of it, but I'm not going to worry about that. And then for our trim, I'm actually going to use fast fuse just because it will work a little bit easier on, actually, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the fast fuse on my background piece. Whoops. And then put this down, and I'm going to overlap them just slightly. Just like that. Super cute. And I might have to actually trim this down a little bit more. So let me do that. So I'm just going to trim that, and then I'm going to give it a blunt edge again. Okay, much better. Okay. So now let's open back up our instructions. And so we did that, and then we're going to add the circle with dimensionals. So like I said, they do provide dimensionals. Sometimes the dimensionals that they provide are thicker than other dimensionals. I think they are probably thicker this time. If I had to guess, I would say most likely they feel a little bit thicker than normal dimensionals. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just want to point that out. Sometimes I've had... sometimes I'm like, well, is it thicker? Is it not thicker? I don't really know. So just so you know, sometimes they are and sometimes they're not, just in case you were thinking you were getting one thing. I think I'm going to add one more right behind there. I didn't plan that out very well. Stick that. Ooh, I really didn't plan that one out. Just pick it up. There we go. Much better. Okay. So now we've done that, and we're going to adhere this square piece to the front of our card using dimensionals as well. So let's flip this bad boy over. I'm going to be generous with my dimensionals just because we do have a lot going on this card. And actually, probably when I say generous, I'm going to do 5. It's actually not that big of a piece, so you don't have to worry too much about it. Am I the only one that ever has the little backings to the dimensionals everywhere in my house? I feel like everywhere I go, I find them somewhere. Oh boy. Okay, and then we're just going to put this on here and just center it up as best as possible. And there is our first card. I think that's super cute. I love the addition of these little wood leaves. I think it's so stinking adorable. And we have our little envelope that's been embellished to go with it. So that's perfect. So that's project number 1. Let's move on to project number 2. Okay, so for project number 2, we're going to use, we're going to stamp the banner, the craft piece, and an envelope. So the smaller envelopes are for this project. So let's start an envelope, but it doesn't show you where to stamp the envelope. Oh, it shows you on the front, that's why. Okay, so we will start by getting our stamps out. So for this one, we are going to be using this other little flower flourish guy that we have going on. And I'm actually going to grab my Stampin' scrub and my Stampin' mist to clean off the stamps that we just used so I can reuse these blocks. And I like to keep my stamps fairly clean. I mean, at the end of the day, your stamps are going to get dirty and they're going to discolor a little bit, but there's nothing wrong with them and that's totally fine. Okay, so take that. We're done with this. Whoops. Okay, so we're going to use this one. And I think, nope, that won't fit on that block, so I need this one here. Okay, so that fits right there. And then we're going to be using the hello. So we'll grab that, and that'll fit right on this one. Okay, so I think I'm going to start off with the envelope. So I'm going to grab my early espresso again and ink this up. So what we're going to do with this, I'm actually going to fold the flap up just to give myself a little bit more of a flat working surface. You're going to stamp this twice, once like that, and then you're going to flip the stamp upside down so that the flat part is, basically the flat pieces will be touching, but we're going to leave a space so that you can write somebody's name in the middle, which I think is absolutely adorable. Just like that. So set this off to the side. We're going to do that exact same concept on our little craft piece of paper, but we're going to be putting this banner in the middle of that. So what you want to do is use your banner as a little bit of a guide. So I'm just going to set my banner down. I'm not going to adhere it or anything, and I'm just going to use that as a guide to where I need to place both of these. Because like I said, you want to leave enough room so that your banner can go there, because our banner is going to have our sentiment on it. So that was super easy. So now we have that piece done as well. And then you're just going to stamp your sentiment on the little banner. Again, I'm using the hello, but if you wanted to use the thanks instead, the one that we just used, or a sentiment from a completely different stamp set, you could absolutely do that. So hopefully my head's not in this too much, because I'm just trying to center it as best as I can. Good enough. Okay. So now, I think that's all the stamping we're doing for this one. So I'm going to put my ink away again. And we are going to adhere the banner and a wooden flower to our craft piece. So here's our flower with some adhesive dots. So again, I am going to use a snail to adhere my banner, just because my Can I get there? I think that it's easier to use snail. That's just me. Okay, so we've done that. I will use a glue dot though to adhere the flower piece, just because the adhesive dots are going to be stronger than the snail. Oops, that one I didn't do very well. So I'm just trying to get the backing paper off. There we go. And then I should be able to just stick that right down and peel it off. And we're going to put that right there. I'm pretty sure that's where, yeah. Just had to double check, but yes, we're good. Okay. So, and then we're going to take, hang on, let me see. Okay, so adhere the banner and the wooden flower. Adhere the orange piece to the card front, offset slightly. So we're going to grab our card base, and by orange piece, they mean this little guy. And we're going to, I'm not going to fold it, but I am going to use my snail again. And because this is just a flat piece, you don't have to be, you don't have to use a ton of snail. And we're going to put this in the center of a card, but as you can see, I'm tilting it just a little bit so it's not completely straight. Okay, and then we are going to, okay, so we're going to wrap the twine around our fingers a couple of times and attach it to the back of the craft piece. So all that means is, and you can do this however wide you want it. My fingers don't span very wide apparently, so I am just going to do it a few times. It's really up to you how many times you want to do this. This is an accent piece, so just keep that in mind if that makes a huge difference. And we're going to take that, set that off to the side for just a second. And we're going to grab a couple of dimensionals and use the dimensionals to adhere this. So I like, and it looks like they have it the same way in the picture. You want to do the dimensionals not completely centered in like a square or anything, because you want the string, you want the thread to kind of go all over the place, if that makes sense. You want to I like to kind of pull mine apart, that kind of thing here. Let me take the dimensionals off and I will show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay, so you have your thread here and you're going to kind of stick it down to all of the places where the dimensionals are. They have it shown a different way. This is how I like to do this technique, so you can, of course, do it how you want, as always. But this is, and it looks a little crazy right now, but when you flip it over, you have just these little bits of the thread hanging off the side. And I suggest flipping it over, seeing what it looks like, seeing where you want some more, seeing where you need to tweak it, and then doing that, and then flipping it back over and that. So I'm going to leave mine like that. I don't want a ton. For their example, you can see that they just did a bunch of loops and then just put them right there. This is my mess, so I'm not very good at doing it as pretty as they do, but this is what I came up with. So then you're going to adhere this to the card front. I find sometimes that I need to add a little bit of adhesive, not with snail, I don't know why I'm doing that, but with a glue dot, just because you have all of this ribbon and such on your dimensional that it doesn't always stick very well. So I am going to use these little adhesive glue dots and put one on each of the dimensionals, just so that I know it's not going to go anywhere when we give this to some, oh sorry, my phone's going off. Just so we know that it's not going to go anywhere when you give it to anybody. You know that all of the what am I trying to say? Twine is going to stay exactly where it's supposed to be, and the front of the card won't come off. And one more. I probably didn't need to do it on that one. That one's pretty good. Okay, so then we're going to adhere this to the front of our card. This one you want to do straight, and the reason that we did the other one a little bit crooked is so that you can see it through. So there is that. And then we can go ahead and fold this little guy up. Use our bone folder to make sure we've got a nice crease. And there is that one. And then you have your sweet little envelope that matches to go with it. And again, you can just write your person's name right in the middle of it. Super stinking cute. So let's go on to the very last one, which is the small card note card holder. Okay, so the last one is this little note card holder, and it's the first thing that we're going to do, it says to stamp the note card and the pocket. So I have the pocket here. Let me grab a note card, and it looks like we are going to be using the big For You, which again should fit on the D block. And it looks like it'll fit perfectly. One thing that I like to do and I find helpful to kind of get my stamps, or my stamp right where I want it on the block, is to put it down on my desktop and then stick the acrylic block down onto it. That's just kind of how I like to do it. And then let me grab, where did my Stampin' scrub go? Just one more time, I'm going to be using this block. And we're going to be also using the sentiment that says, just wanted to say. So I'm going to stick that right here. So we're using all of the stamps in this set except for one, which I think is pretty nice. You really get a good use out of these stamps. Okay, so we're going to grab our ink again. And I got something on that note card. So the just wanted to say, we're going to stamp that right here up at the top of our note card. Just like that. Set that off to the side. And then For You, we're going to stamp on our pocket. So there's a side of it that has these little adhesive strips. That's the side that you want to be stamping on. There's a score line right here. So you want to stamp on the side that has the adhesive on it. I don't know that it would necessarily make a difference. You could just flip it the other way. That's just how they have it in the instructions. So that's how I'm going to do it. I guess I don't know exactly what would happen if you did it the other way. I don't think it would hurt it. I think you would be okay. But I'm just throwing that out there. Okay, and then we have our For You. Perfect. Close up my ink pad once more. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and fold our pocket now. And where did my bone folder just go? There it is. Dun, da, da, da. Fold that up, and then we're going to fold these lines here, just like that, and take the little adhesive backings off. This is another thing that I like about Paper Pumpkin, is a lot of times when you have these little like pockets and stuff, they come with these adhesive strips on it, so all you have to do is remove the release paper and you're good to go. Honestly, it's ingenious the way that they've done it. So I'm going to put the bottom flap down first, and then right when I'm almost to the edge, I'm going to fold down the side and crease it, just so that I make sure I don't get any weird bumps and lumps and such. Now we are going to adhere a flower and a small piece of burlap trim to the pocket. So let's see. A flower. Where are you, little flower? Oh, they're in this little bag. I was like, I don't see a little flower. But I found it. Okay. So we are going to take a little piece of our trim. And I just lost my scissors again. So I'm going to put like this much maybe. Probably cut this in half. And then the sample they cut it into a little banner, which I think looks super cute, so I'm going to do that. So I just cut up the center, and now I'm going to cut from each corner to that center point, and that'll give us a little banner shape. And because it's this burlap trim, you do get all of these little flaky guys, but just toss them in the trash and you'll know no different. Okay. So again, for this, I'm going to put just a little bit of Fast Fuse onto my project, and then I'm going to put the little banner down. I'm going to kind of put it a little catty corner, or a little off center, just like that, and then I'm going to take my scissors, flip it around, and then trim off the excess, the part that goes over, just like that. And then we will take our little flower, and I don't think It doesn't say how if they use a dimensional. I'm not going to use a dimensional. I'm just going to use some snail and stick our little flower on, and I'm going to put it down a little bit. It's covering the R a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. Now we are going to take our twine once more and tie a little bow onto the clothespin. So I'm actually going to thread the twine through the little hole in the metal piece of the clothespin. Maybe if it doesn't come undone. And I'm just going to trim this. I know I'm always about keeping it tied to the, or keeping it on the spool until you know how much you're going to use and all of that good stuff. But today, we'll just do it this way. And because we're tying it onto like this little mini clothespin, I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult to leave it on the spool. So that's honestly why I'm doing it. We'll see how well I can tie this little bow. Oh, that wasn't bad at all. Okay, so now I'm just going to fuss with it, get it to where I like it. Just super cute. I'm going to trim just so it's not too crazy. Move that out of the way. And that's going to get clipped onto our little pocket right there. I'm going to make this loop a little bit smaller. There we go. There's that. And then when you would write your little note to whoever on there, slide that into the little pocket and then put your little clothespin on there with your sweet little bow. And that's your project. So we are done. That was our 3 paper pumpkin projects for this month. Super cute. I think these are adorable. And we're getting into those fall colors and more of our earth tones, blues, greens, browns, and I'm super excited. I love these projects. I think they're super cute. Be on the lookout for my remakes. I probably won't do 3 remake projects, even though there were 3 projects in this one. But I will do I'll do 1 remake using the supplies from our paper pumpkin kit and come up with something different and show that to you guys. So be on the lookout for that. That will be coming very shortly. And other than that, I will see you guys next time. Bye!